I did this acting self-tape audition before hopping on a plane to the Bay Area, a place I used to call home. This video is for anyone who's desiring to cultivate a richer home life or private life, and hopefully they don't have to travel elsewhere to get that. Most of my videos are reflections on my lived experience, sharing wisdom that supported and served me, as I believe we are all each other's healers. We provide mirrors to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly. And so I hope that it supports you in cultivating a richer home life and nurturing your private life and knowing that that's an area of importance. How can you have a home life that you feel you can come and return to shed the outside world, you feel nourished by, you feel nurtured by, you feel spiritually uplifted by? All of these values became particularly pronounced for me in this last week. If this sounds interesting to you, definitely like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on my latest uploads. This video is for those who feel a lacking in their private life or home life, maybe a lacking of deep friendships where you live, you desire to live with a partner, feeling some emptiness outside of work life, feeling some spiritual aridity, which is the erosion of the material world when we realize the inner world isn't really meeting us where we are. We're not cultivating and internally nurturing those feelings that we're seeking from the outside world. We're wanting more ease, more feeling of wholesome life, more soft girl life. Then this video is for you. What you can expect in the video ahead is I'm going to share some context on how this topic became relevant to me, a little story time around my trip to the Bay Area, and also share with you some writing from my morning pages. Morning pages is a practice inspired by The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and it's an incredible way to just have free-form thought, allow some flow, and I like to do daily writing practices. Sometimes they're more in the format of morning pages. Sometimes they're more for you to share some guidance and wisdom in a way that I think will be supportive for reception, because I think stories are a powerful way, and hearing from people personally is a huge way to receive some messages and reflections that support you in your unique path and journey. I used to live in the Bay Area in San Francisco in the Mission from 2017 to 2018, and it brought up so many different things for me. I was there for work. I was working at Google, and I had started this full-time employment journey of working in big tech. And I also relocated me and my partner from New York City to San Francisco. About 6 months into our time there, he had a stroke and I became his primary caregiver. And what became important to me was very pronounced during that time, which is our health, our loved ones, a quality of life, just a lot of aspects of life that when people are faced with near-death experiences or you witness the passing of a loved one, it becomes very pronounced that at your deathbed, these are the things that you'll feel are the richness in life. But so often we fixate on the material side of life. So in this past week, I had been feeling really empty. I was feeling like my private life was really empty. I live in LA presently, and a factor in me living here is to pursue acting or surrender to the pursuit of acting, which is my inner calling, the thing that I loved to do as a child. But it's also interesting to move to a place where the orientation is towards working, and there's a huge film industry here, and just not really feeling nurtured so much in my private life. I have my spiritual practices, but I was deeply craving deep friendships, which I don't have as much here, and deep family ties, which I don't have so much here. And it became more pronounced to me in my dad's decline in his state of life. And it just shows to me that you want people by your bedside when you're at that time, or it's just so beautiful to have children, period, in this lifetime. And a lot of things related to that and fertility, etc., have been arising for me, and it became very clear to me that I needed to revisit the things that nourish me. And I think in these times, it's so important for us to remember that we haven't always been in this place of feeling a lacking, and maybe it's going back to revisit that old part of you through going to old places that you used to go to, spending time with old people that were really replenishing for you, that really nurtured you and nurtured your inner world too. I have totally just been in LA for 8 months, which for me is a really long time. I'm a wanderlusty traveler, so to really be locked into this one place cut me off from these past parts of myself, past versions of myself. And so it was really beautiful to go to the Bay Area and spend time with loved ones. But for you, in whatever position you're in, maybe you don't have the opportunity to fully relocate to a new place and get on a flight and then be like, yeah, it's nurturing over here. But there's so many ways that you can tune into with the awareness that you're lacking in the home life front, that you're wanting more inner life nurture. How can you cultivate that experience for yourself where you are? Revisiting things that you used to love to do, honoring and nurturing the inner child with more creativity is always a huge place where I recommend starting. What things and practices do you used to love to do when you were little? Entertaining some of those, going down memory lane. It's a beautiful moment for nostalgia, to get some comfort from the things that we used to love to do. There also might be practices that you could heighten, whether it's spiritual practices or practices of self-care that might make you feel soothed, whether it's soaking in a bath or it's meditating more or it's finding a spiritual community. I highly recommend those types of things. In addition to that, on the friendship front, I think it's really special to reach out to people in your life, to give them phone calls, to go down memory lane, to have a period of nurturing who you used to be and all the chapters of you, even if you feel disconnected from them now. This is a revisitation around the richness of life and not it just being in the public lens around career and achievement in the external world, but also in the private space. Like, how is your inner life doing? Is it actually being attended to in a way that is fueling you to then create more love into the world and bring the inner world into the outer world, because that's what we need from more people. Now I'm going to get into my writing and share with you that, in addition to some visuals from my trip to the Bay Area. Nurture what nurtures you is the affirmation of the day. Material and financial means are a kind of wealth. So is quality friendships, quality food, air quality, quality of connections to family, high quality of health, quality of soul connection, and the list goes on. With death more front of mind with the state of my dad and going through a bit of a death rebirth cycle internally myself, I'm always reminded of what to live for, the people and the places that made me feel held and loved. I made my way back to the nourishing Bay Area. The pastel color buildings, the open skies with less skyscrapers, the sounds of birds chirping, and my friends' tree-lined streets, the hills, the buttery non-vegan arepa around the corner from my old apartment in the Mission. Double chocolate mint vegan cookie freshly baked from Arizmendi, the fresh air, the community gardens, the well-priced organic produce from the farmer's market, the ocean views, the luscious nature, backyards with high-yielding fruit trees, diversity. I saw a group of middle school kids playing and it looked like the United Nations. There's such a feeling of nourishment when I spend time in the Bay. The quality of life is so high, the vibration is so high, despite the level of crime and homelessness, and despite wealth disparities that are also so apparent. It reminds me of the richness of private life, of home life, that nurtures you back to wholeness after you battle and are bruised by the outside world. I felt this while living there. A clip of Michelle Obama popped up on my TikTok recently, and she was saying, not verbatim, "They do not love you out there. That's what home is for." I don't ever think I made the connection that you should feel loved in your private space, ideally. Ideally, your home is a sanctuary where you are surrounded with people that you love and maybe you live with them, where you take off the mask that you wear in the outer world and you feel at home with yourself, where well-being is your highest value. In being here, I was reminded to bring that back to LA. I hope we can all bring those values into our private life and also out to the outer world too. The world needs more of that. Nurture what nourishes you, and it'll keep returning the favor. Thanks for tuning in. I'm wishing you so much more nurture, nourishment, attending to your inner world, cultivating it, bringing more richness to it in this week ahead, and I'm sending you so much love.